Imagine if I told you that the Pentagon itself developed a virus and a vaccine for that virus that would make people less religious. Would you believe me?
What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
The video that you're about to watch was leaked from a Pentagon presentation in 2005, and it shows that they've developed a virus and a vaccine for the virus that turns off the religious centers in people's brains. You're about to hear high-ranking military individuals talk about releasing a virus into the general population and have the virus spread rapidly through respiratory illnesses, such as the flu or a cold. Then they come out with a vaccine for that virus, and that vaccine modifies your brain and it turns off specific receptors that make people less religious. It was developed in the context of fighting the war on terror. However, you can easily see where it could become useful today. Now, before we get into the actual leaked Pentagon video, I want to make a few things clear to you guys. There's a handful of popular debunking websites who say and claim that this FunVax vaccine is a hoax. They say that it was supposed to be originally part of a documentary that never got made, and that it stems from a Kickstarter campaign back in 2011 that never got enough funding to take off the ground, and the project was eventually scrapped. But here's why I reject these ideas. If you go through the Snopes articles, it's basically saying that there's no substantiated claims and the science isn't even there. But I reject that idea. The science is there, and here are a few examples of actual studies showing that the VMAT2 gene does what they're saying it does in this video. Also, there have been several popular publications such as Time magazine and books that talk about the quote God gene. Now, if you take this and you combine it with the CRISPR-Cas9 technology, what we have is a recipe, the essential building blocks for the FunVax vaccine. We know that CRISPR-Cas9 technology allows a person to go into the human genome and turn off certain genes and even turn them on. And you can even do this from home. We know the technology is there. And if this was a leaked Pentagon briefing, you better believe that they would cover it up. They would do everything in their power to make sure that people don't believe it. How do that? Well, they would come out with different explanations, such as what you see on Snopes, that claim to debunk it. But critical thinking and observation skills will make these debunking claims suspect. Take it or leave it. Believe it or not. You can either believe the Snopes article. They have a record for getting things wrong and even blatantly lying to get their point across and to push the mainstream narrative. You will never find anything on Snopes that goes against the official narrative you'll hear on CNN and other places. Snopes is nothing but a tool used by the establishment to keep people like us in check. So, believe it or not, it's up to you. I'm just giving you the facts. So without further ado, here is the video.
Excuse me, on the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the VMAT2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalist, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed in aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those. That this will be a very successful approach.
By spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from going on a bomb market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particular. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and desires. In contrast, in marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think effects in the Middle East.
What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted, and I think that the data that I have shown you today would support the development of this project, and we think it has great promise.